Hi, my name is Nick Arandes in another episode of Healing Together, and today I'm going to talk about the resistance to love, or the resistance to peace, the resistance to awareness of who I really am, or whatever you want to call it. This is a very important episode because a lot of times when we want to remember who we are, when I want to remember who I am, which is love, peace, and that's all there is. Well, of course, the reason why that experience doesn't appear to be taking place right now is because of the obstacles that I have interposed on it. Okay? In other words, whenever I decide or I choose or I feel I want to be, I remember who I am. Well, of course, first I have to look at all the obstacles that I have placed. And that, if I'm honest with you, generally is very painful. It's not I usually say it's not a bed of roses. The reason being is because I'm actually asked to let go of all the concepts that I have about myself, about life, about love, about everything. And it's not painful, the experience of love. What is painful is the resistance to it, the not wanting to let go of the belief that I have about myself, about the world. And that's again because what's happening is I am being stripped down from my identity. I believe this is who I am. I believe this is my name. I believe I was born in a particular place. Put it this way, I believe that I exist as a separate entity. And then on top of that, I have all sorts of values that I have. Values means that I have learned. I am my career. My value is based on the amount of money or accomplishments that I have, all those things. And if all of a sudden somebody tells me that I worked so hard to attain all those things and that means nothing, if I can surrender and let it go, then that's fine. But for the most part, that's not the case. I want to believe that I am who I am my title, I am my accomplishments, I am what I have, I am my thoughts, I am my feelings. And of course, that is very painful when I've been asked to surrender all of that, because again, in a sense, what's happening is I am dying. And what is dying is my false identity. So that feeling of pain that sometimes is referred to as the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is the experience that we have, the conflict, when there's a part of me who decides to remember who I am, meaning awaken to reality. But there's another part that's still identified with the world, with the illusory experience, with my identity. So it's like there's a part who wants to let go of that because he realized that he wants peace. But he's afraid of letting it go because he feels that he's going to lose something. You see the trap? I want to be at peace, but I am afraid of letting go of that, which is technically one of the reasons why I cannot experience peace. Because if I let go of that, I'm losing something. Something is dying. Now remember, nothing in the world is the cause of my peace. And in the same way, nothing of the world, put it this way, is not the cause of my happiness. My attachment to it is. And I have to let go of it so that I can realize that my happiness and my peace is not dependent on any of that. But all my life I has built a belief, a very strong belief that says I am happy because of. I am happy because I have this. I am happy because I don't have that. You see, or I am sad because I don't have this, or I'm sad because I wish I had that, or whatever. Well, of course, that's a very strong belief system that is ingrained in the unconscious, and all of that is used to support the idea of this I that I think I am. You see, so well, of course, if I'm being stripped away from all of that, what's going to happen? I feel a lot of pain. Because I'm losing something. In reality, I'm not losing anything. In reality, I'm gaining everything. But that is not something that can be understood at this level, because the gaining of everything has nothing to do with material possessions. It has nothing to do with worldly values. What I'm gaining is the awareness of the love that I am, which is all-encompassing. What I'm gaining is the peace that I am, which is again, all-encompassing, is something that extends itself to everything, to all that there is, because that's all that there is. There's nothing else. Therefore, I want to make you aware of that when we begin this process of letting go, of surrendering, that experience that takes place, that seems to be very painful. Some people experience even like even depression, and some people, because again you're letting go of all the veil that I have placed, that I've been holding on to, even though the cause of all my suffering is the attachment to all the things, right? And not letting them go. These are the very same things that even though I feel pain, I don't want to let them go, because I feel that if I let them go, it's going to be even more painful, because now I think I'm sacrificing or losing something. But that's not the reality of it. The reality of it is letting it go, is letting go of all the weight. And as a result of that, I can have the experience of that peace that I've always been seeking. So then the question, how do we go about doing so? Well, it's very simple. Again, it's that simple, that's why we overlook it. I had another video on surrendering, you might want to take a look at it. And it's basically that. It's being aware that I know absolutely nothing. In reality, that's all there is to it. Whatever is taking place in my life is what is, and that's it. And if I can simply allow myself to open myself to that experience, and when those feelings begins to come up, and those feelings that are very, in some cases very terrifying, it's a way of allowing them to surrender to the experience, because in reality the feelings are not the problem, it's the stories we're making about them. That's what makes the feeling something either terrifying or the suffering increases. But if I allow myself to all that to simply get through me, you see, in that process of completely letting go, completely surrender, in that process, then it's like the debris, the garbage is being burning, but it's being burned by the light within, so that the light, the love that we are, can shine. So it appears as if it's a burning sensation, like a painful experience, but it's all the garbage that is coming up to the surface to be healed, that has to be exposed to the fire in order to be disintegrated. Well, that's the part we don't want to look. We don't want to look at all the garbage. So what we try to do, we stay on the surface trying to find ways to seek pleasure, avoid pain, find things, distraction, but all the garbage still accumulating in there, and sooner or later that garbage has to be looked at, because that's the only way we can get to the experience of the love that we are. In other words, I have to be willing to look at all that I have interposed in between, and that experience generally doesn't have to be this way. That's why I cannot generalize, but for the most part, at least in my experience, is very painful. It's very painful because, again, I'm looking at all this junk that I placed in between that is illusory, because the junk is not really true. It's not really real. This is a way of, that's why this video is, I want to make sure that it's making you aware that you're not going crazy. You're actually recovering your sanity. You see? It's like, oh my God, it's like there's a door here and a door over here, and in the meantime, in the middle, there's a room, and the room is filled with crazy people. And you have to go through all this craziness, but don't get caught in it. Don't pay attention to it, and keep walking, keep walking, keep walking until you reach the other side of the room and you walk out of that door. You see? Well, that's what's happening. We live in a world of craziness, so to speak, because the world is not crazy. Our mind is crazy and is experiencing the craziness of the world, only that projected outwards. Now I'm going to observe the craziness, and instead of paying attention to it, so maybe observe the craziness is not the right word, but I'm going to withdraw my attention from the craziness into this space of complete surrender. That's what it means being present. And just continue walking, continue walking. It's not a walking in terms of distance and in terms of time and space. It's a metaphor. It's a way of saying that as I continue to surrender, and all this craziness is coming up, and all this God knows what, and I think that I need to do something about it, whatever, I just continue surrendering, allow it to go through me, see? And then as I allow the experience to go through me, what happens is that I get to experience what's behind it. That peace, that serenity. That's all there is to it. So if you're going through a period of going crazy, your life is, my God, everything is falling upside down, my world is completely being destroyed, everything, my feelings are like, I don't even know what's going on, there's nothing to do, because all we're doing is simply going through that mental institution that we have to go through in order to get to the other side. And there's no really get to the other side. Again, this is just a metaphor, this is an analogy, but in reality there's no other side. It is what it is. Simply is the experience that you have right now, the experience of the love and the peace that we are right now, that now all this stuff is coming up to be disintegrated, to be burned by the light that is within us. And that's what's very important. That's why there's nothing to do. It's really, there's nothing to do. It's just simply observing life, experiencing life. I'll give you an example. I wake up in the morning, I open my eyes as if there's an eye that opens its eyes. But let's say that let's say, for the sake of this, I look at it like the movie, a scene in this experience called Nick, Nick Arandes, whatever. And I observe the feelings that come up, the experience that takes place, all the things that are apparently taking place. Don't try to change any of them. Don't try to make sense of any of them. Don't try to do anything about them, because then I'm putting my attention where the problem is not. I just keep surrender, a state of surrender. And then I trust that whatever I find myself doing is what I need to do. This is part of the movie that is taking place. And sometimes it appears as if I do things in order to change something. Sometimes it appears as if I don't do anything, even though everybody tells me, you should change something, this shouldn't be like this, you gotta do something. It's a complete surrender to it, because I'm beginning to start being aware of the peace that is underneath. But once again, for me to be able to be aware of the peace, of the love that is underneath, I have to first be willing to look at a half place in between. That is not comfortable. Generally, it is not. This is not something about having a party and how grateful I am. This is fantastic. I'm going to have this experience of no. This is not what it is. It's not a party. It's actually an experience of, in a way, of a death. Sort of like going through the valley of the shadows or whatever, in a sense. What is important is don't be afraid of it. Because in reality, nothing is happening. That's what you have to remember. Nothing is really happening. Nothing can happen to you, because what you are is that which is aware of the experience, not the experience itself. It's like in a dream. The dream, you can have the most devastating things taking place, but in reality, nothing is happening, because you're in bed, sleeping, sound, asleep, in perfect peace. Only that if you believe the images in your mind, it appears as if your peace is gone. But in reality, nothing can happen to you, because once again, you are not the dream, you are the dreamer of the dream.